You're listening to Fresh Picked, a youth-based radio program that brings the voices and viewpoints of artists to your ears. I'm Sierra Pontier. Today I'm bringing you a story fresh picked out of the gardens of someone who puts more into a piece of toast than the average person.
How do you properly toast bread, Do you use butter? Do you use olive oil? What kind of butter do you use? What temperature? It's got to be like the perfect medium heat. You got to cook it slow until the bread gets nice and crispy.
Michael Fiorelli is the executive sous chef at the beautiful resort Terranea. But for Chef Fiorelli, a career in food wasn't always set in his mind.
How I got into it professionally, cooking, it's kind of interesting. It's never anything I set out to do. There wasn't a day I woke up and said, I want to be a chef.
He actually set out to be a writer, but somewhere along the lines while he was working as a dishwasher at a casual steakhouse, he started reading cookbooks.
Cookbooks changed from, the Betty Crocker cookbooks or the Julia Child Mastering the Art of French Cookery to more biographical storytelling kind of books with elaborate pictures and depictions of food and more in-depth stuff. So I just kind of got hooked on that.
He started researching the chefs he read about. One particular woman, who was revolutionizing the way Americans eat Chinese cuisine, especially caught his eye.
I was intrigued. I packed up my stuff, moved to Philadelphia where she was, without a job, got an apartment with the little cash that I had, and was so naive that I just walked in the front door. And I was like, is Susanna here? The chef, which I would never in a million years do now or recommend that anyone do.
After stretching the truth about his experience a little more than he should have, Michael realized quickly that the culinary world isn't as glamorous as some people think.
There was a lot of yelling and screaming going on, one-sided yelling and screaming going on. It wasn't coming from me. So that was quite an experience. I learned a lot. I was very humbled. Like, get in the corner, put your head down, peel these potatoes, for 15 hours, and that's what you're going to do. And then you're going to peel them all. I'm going to tell you that they're not right, and we're going to throw them away. You're going to do another 15 cases of potatoes.
The next 10 years of his life were spent working early mornings and late nights. And his parents kept asking him when he was going to go back to school, or when he was going to get a real job that paid more than $8 an hour, and that actually allowed him to come home on weekends and holidays. But despite other people's opinions, Michael did have a goal in mind.
My goal really was to get as much education as I possibly could. I know I hadn't gone to culinary school, and at the caliber of restaurants that I was working at, most of the kitchen staff had. Some of them, I was the only one who hadn't gone to culinary school. I always had this thing, what do they know that I don't know? What is in their head? What knowledge have they soaked up that I haven't experienced? I have to be better than them. How am I going to do that? By reading, So I would just go home and just pour through books about cooking, all kinds of books, textbooks, recipe books, anything you could possibly imagine. I would go to these discount bookstores, I would take, I have $100. I'm going to buy as many cookbooks as I can possibly buy with $100, and sometimes I would come home with 10, 20, 30 books and just read through them. It didn't matter what they were. I just want to know about everything as much as I can.
Eventually, about 10 years later, his hard work did pay off, and it led him to be chef de cuisine at Terranea's signature restaurant Marcel, where he puts attention on the most minute details as small as the type of salt he uses. It was almost a fluke that Marcel was even named after the French word for salt. The name of the restaurant was actually decided before Michael knew he was going to be the head chef. But coincidentally, his favorite ingredient is salt, and he even has a big tattoo of a sodium chloride molecule on his forearm.
It's the most probably misunderstood ingredient in the kitchen. People just how to season things, what kind of salts to use in different applications. You can't use the same salt just in everything. It doesn't have the same effect. So how do you coax these flavors out of things? Salt, it just extracts flavors that are already there, kind of wakes things up.
For Chef Fiorelli, cooking is very personal. He cooks food that he and his friends want to eat, and a lot of times it even reflects what mood he's in.
Some nights you'll come in and I'll be like, oh, you've got to try this, and it's deep fried pig's ears with hollandaise sauce, and it's rich and decadent and almost disgustingly good, and you're just it'll give you a heart attack, not really, but if you eat too much of it, it might. But I'll be so amped on it, you have to try these pig's ears, they're so delicious, Another day you might come in and I'll say, you've got to try this salad. It's just shaved raw vegetables with lemon and sea salt and olive oil, and it's amazing because the vegetables are two completely contrasting things, but it's that's the mood I'm in that day.
But whether it's sinful pig ears or crisp vegetables, he treats every ingredient like it's royalty. It's the little things like buying seasonal produce daily from local farmers that really makes the difference.
I like to keep things very pure. I focus most of the food around the produce first, which not a lot of chefs do. think that's important out here in California because that's what changes and that's what inspires you. Rather than saying, I want to cook a steak tonight, what am I going to serve it with? I'll more say, this is what I got at the market today. You know, I got these carrots, I've got these potatoes, these leeks, whatever it happens to be. And then I'll work on the vegetable preparations first, which is really the most difficult because in California you get good product and you just try not to alter the integrity of it before it gets to the table, you know, and you've done your job. If you take those steps to like learn how to properly cook a carrot, to understand how to do that, you have to understand where they come from. You know, where does a carrot come from? How does it grow? How do I store it? Why are your carrots stored in a plastic bag? They didn't grow in plastic bags. You know, that's not how at what point do they get wrapped in plastic and stuck in the refrigerator? That's what about the way that a carrot grows lets you think that that's okay? It's not. Keep them in damp, you know, maybe in a damp paper towel. Show them some love. So it starts with that, how you receive it, how it grows, how you receive it, how you handle it.
The way Chef Fiorelli sees it, food trends, culture, and fashion all mimic each other. The high bold hair in the 80s reflects the architecture of many 80s dishes that were piled high with flamboyant garnishes and squeeze bottle sauces that looked like Jackson Pollock paintings. During the 90s, people started refining their lives. They often walked into a white tablecloth restaurant wearing a suit and tie and indulged in a 15-course tasting menu with a $500 bottle of wine. But in today's world,
cooks are getting back to being inspired. They don't have to worry about the tablecloths and not the stuffy service, and they're changing their menus a lot. You can worry more about the food. No more of these big menus you have to flip through. Maybe it's on it's just a piece of paper like this, and we change it every day. And people are willing to accept that now. That's what people want.
Even at Marcel, Chef Fiorelli made a few changes to follow customers' evolving tastes.
Now we have this caramel bacon popcorn. It's so good, and it's like, I think we charge like $4 for it, you know what I mean? So would people eat bacon popcorn? Maybe, maybe not, but when it's $4, you'll give it a shot.
But at the end of the day, Chef Fiorelli is just serving people what he and his friends love to eat. No secrets, no tricks, just delicious, fresh, mouth-watering food.
We used to make English muffins just for ourselves to snack on in the kitchen, and I'm like, these are so good, like we could sell these. And then I'm like, why don't we? Like, why are we serving baguette? Like olives and almonds and 2 different butters, and it's so much work, and it takes so many people. You need like a bread person. It's like, let's just make English muffins. And people love it, and it's like, that feels good, Like, this is what I want when I eat bread. A warm English muffin right out of the oven, with some soft butter, and that's all you need. Now people are like, oh, can I get them to go? Can I have the recipe? And I'm like, so cool.
If you like what you hear, visit Terranea Resort and Spa to see what Chef Fiorelli is cooking up next.